guys, it's AJ, your favorite lesbian commentary YouTuber, back at it with another banger for you today. Do you like my outfit? It's fall time. You know how last video said I was cleaning my background? Yeah, that's still happening. I just haven't done it because I've had stuff happening, you know? Life just keeps happening to me, like, yeah. Buckle in. This is actually gonna be a long one. Before we get started, I want to give a huge shout out to my patrons on Patreon. Lauren the Guy, Adam, and Lizzie, my fiance. I'm not sure if everybody else's For You page is like mine, but mine has been taken over with discourse about Mount Everest. And if you know me, you know I love discourse. So today I'm sharing my recent hyperfixation with you. I'm going to show you guys some stuff I learned, and we're going to have some reactions to some videos. First, some backstory. Let me transform into my alternate form.
AJ the science gay, AJ the science gay, AJ the science gay.
Mount Everest is on the border of Nepal and Tibet, and the first successful climb was in 1953. The average time to climb Mount Everest is 2 months. All this information, just keep in mind for later. On the most dangerous parts of Mount Everest, it's called the death zone, and temperatures can get as low as negative 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and wind can get over 200 miles per hour. Can you imagine getting slapped in the face with some cold ass wind? I would not survive. My joints already hurt. So with harsh conditions like that, a lot of people die. Like a lot. And it's just accepted. There are avalanches, falling risks, and altitude sickness. There are so many dead bodies up there that have been there for so long that people use them as landmarks for where to go. And yeah, people die up there and never get brought back down because it's too dangerous. They'll literally throw them off a cliff. As in, somebody will be in a bad spot and they're like, okay, well, we gotta move them. So they just throw them down. Every once in a while, natives to the region will do cleanup missions where they go up there and remove trash, debris, and dead bodies. And people still decide to go. And going is not cheap. It costs a minimum of like $30,000 just to go. Which means people that are doing this are rich people who want an ego boost. Most of these people are just doing it so they can say they did it. And this is the part where I say it gets selfish. No one needs to climb Mount Everest. The people who are climbing it are doing it just so they can say they did it. And guess what? They're not even doing it alone. They hire Sherpas to go up with them. Sherpas are an ethnic group native to the Himalayan region. So the term Sherpa refers to the ethnic group, not a job. For a long time, I thought a Sherpa was a job. Like, people who help guide people are Sherpas. No, it's literally an ethnic group. They are Sherpas. Sherpas have a genetic adaptation that makes it so that they can handle higher altitudes better. They tend to be shorter and have bigger rib cages, so they have more expansion in their lungs. Okay, that was most of the sciencey stuff. Now we're gonna get into the actual nitty-gritty in the video, in the details, and my commentary. Because of this, people use Sherpas for hard work on expeditions. This means carrying people's loads and supplies that can weigh up to 100 pounds. They even go up there ahead of time and set up the ropes and ladders so the expedition is easier. They are climbing Mount Everest often and nobody is giving them applause.
Written music, wow, wow, wow. Copy music, copywritten music, pow, pow, pow. Wow, 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 wow. Copyright. Wow, 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 wow. Whoa. That looks so heavy, doesn't it? Wow. Could never be me. Strong neck. Strong neck.
Who do you think is more likely to die from exhaustion at Mount Everest? The guy just walking, or the guy walking holding 100 pounds? 1/3 of the deaths on Mount Everest are from Sherpas. Well, not from Sherpas, are Sherpas. And they don't get any news coverage. Only Westerners do. Speaking of inequality, they get paid so much less than Westerner guides. The average Sherpa gets paid $7,000. Foreigners, which is basically anybody who's not from the Himalayan mountain region, foreign guides get paid $30,000 on average to help somebody climb. This is a huge difference. People know that they need money and that they are genetically able to handle the conditions better, so they think it's okay to pay them less. So people are climbing Everest by exploiting the labor of people who just happen to be born into a high-risk profession.
혼자 싸우지고 싸물어요.
And this is where my main issue lies. Not only are you risking your life, you're risking other people's lives to have to save you just to climb a rock? These people have paid so much money to fulfill the fantasy of climbing a rock that if somebody on their team gets hurt and injured, they just leave them there. They don't go, oh, maybe we just stop the team and we should go back down and get them help. No, they will leave them there and finish going up. This could all be avoided if people just didn't climb it. And most people who climb are not going without Sherpas. You want to know why?
This week we're celebrating the frozen bones of Marco Litteniker, hanging like a crystallized bat for 10 years off the peaks of Everest, welcoming climbers up to their doom on the mountain. Marco's ill-fated journey from Everest expeditioner to frozen hanging mummy is a relatively simple one. Marco, an experienced, healthy Slovenian climber, decided to move up the mountain quickly and critically without Sherpas in 2005. On his way back down from the summit, he faced recurring issues with his oxygen, which led to this. For 10 years, he hung here on that path, like a gargoyle of Everest, until a Russian team trekked back up with Sherpas to cover him with a simple white-pitched tent back there in 2017. According to the Russian team, and I would like to do a Russian accent here, which I think is okay, the frozen body of the Slovenian climber hung on ropes at the height of 8,800 meters. More than 10 years, the terror of the rising climbers. And now the body is covered. Hope for a long time. We'll check in a year. Marco Litteniker's perilous story is not as well documented or visual as, say, Green Boots or Sleeping Beauties, Rob Hall's, David Sharp's, Hannah Lorsham's, but it is indicative of the deathly norms of the mountain. Many deaths are just climbers with simple names. They don't get the lore or the nicknames. Even though I came up with like 2 of them at the beginning of this video, the crystallized Batman or the gargoyle of Everest, that's a pretty good one.
Again, if you die, you are risking the lives of others to come get you. Also, these people have kids at home. You are risking your life for a high-risk hobby while you have mouths to feed?
This is an update on the mountain climber who is stuck at the top of the tallest mountain in Kyrgyzstan. If you didn't know, Natalia Nagovitsina is a Russian climber. She's extremely experienced and she was attempting to summit the tallest mountain in Kyrgyzstan. On her descent, she suffered an accident and broke her leg. Her team left her, and since August 12th, she has been stuck at about 7,000 meters. At this high of elevation, there is limited oxygen and your body essentially just starts to break down. Since she became stranded, there have been multiple rescue attempts made to try to save her. One rescue group was able to reach her and provide her with supplies, but was not able to successfully retrieve her. In fact, in the second attempt, one of the rescuers from that group actually died. Additionally, they attempted to send a helicopter, and the poor weather conditions resulted in the helicopter having to crash land, and 4 of the passengers were injured. The weather conditions have continued to deteriorate to the point where officials actually called off the search on Friday. However, they received a lot of public backlash, and they said that on Monday, if the weather cleared enough, they would try to attempt to send up a drone to see if she was alive. Now, the last piece of evidence we have that she is still alive was actually from August 19th that was taken from a surveillance drone, which showed her in her tent that was ripped up from the weather, but she was waving. Her son has even made a plea to Russian authorities to help save her. In his post, he said, "My mother is an experienced mountaineer holding a second-class sports rank in mountaineering, with strong health and excellent physical condition. In a video I received, it is clearly visible that 7 days after communication was lost, she is actively waving her hand and looks full of strength. I am convinced that my mother is still alive." According to forecasts, favorable weather conditions will last only for the next 2 days. After that, conducting a rescue operation may become impossible. He then goes on to appeal to Russian authorities to assist in organizing aerial video surveillance to confirm if she's alive or not, and if she is, to organize a rescue operation. So the final rescue hope was really reliant on weather conditions being optimal for a rescue on Monday. And unfortunately, the weather conditions did not clear enough for them to even send up a drone to see if she could be still alive. It should also be noted that the weather conditions from last weekend reached negative 22 degrees. Additionally, it was revealed that a special light helicopter from Italy flew in to potentially assist with the rescue, and they have since now flown home. It's being reported that the rescue is officially being called off, with authorities stating that the weather conditions are just too poor to attempt a rescue, and the likelihood that she could even survive in these extreme conditions for 2 weeks is slim to none. They said that their next steps are to actually wait until springtime when they will actually be able to retrieve her body.
Now, this mountain is not Mount Everest, but the same principle applies. Do you care about your life and responsibilities or no? Answer quickly. Someone else literally died trying to save her. It's not just a hypothetical of like, yeah, somebody could die trying to save you. No, genuinely, somebody might die trying to save you if you get stuck on that mountain. And if you are still willing to take that risk, I have nothing against hobbies. Physical activity is great, but nobody needs to climb that mountain. Nobody needs to climb the mountain. The highest risk for death on Mount Everest is in the death zone.
This is Mount Everest Death Zone. the death zone is anything over 8,000 metres high. That's because we are literally dying anything above 8,000 metres. There's not enough oxygen. The cells are literally dying off every second you're in there. And apparently they don't recommend you can be in it anything more than about 16 to 18 hours before guaranteed death. This is a map, I think it's a couple of years old now, but this is a map of roughly where all the dead bodies are on Everest. I'm laughing. It's not funny, really. But it's so insanely ridiculous that it sets my dark humour off. So the majority of people have died over 8,000 metres. That's this line here. But there's still a bunch down here. Amateurs. And I found this information, which I found fascinating. So again, I don't know how old this is, but 20 people have died ascending, 90 descending, 11 expedition evacuation, 120 route preparation, 36 even at base camp, and then 6 on the way to base camp, which is just what they're doing. So the most common cause of death is avalanche at 29%. Other is second, don't know what that is. And then we go for falling, which totally be me. Or exposure and frostbite, fair enough. It's fucking freezing, isn't it? And then mountain sickness.
Why are we letting people do this? Well, I guess not we, but somebody's got to stop them.
In 2006, a man sat dying near the summit while more than 40 climbers walked past him. Some thought he was already gone. Others knew he wasn't, and kept going anyway. He wasn't the first to die on Everest. He won't be the last. At 8,000 meters, your body is shutting down. Muscles waste, lungs drown, minds slip. It's called the death zone, and it doesn't forgive mistakes. But sometimes what happens up there isn't just about nature, it's about choices. This is the story of 3 men who climbed toward the same summit, but never came back. Their names were David Sharp, Green Boots, and Scott Fisher, and their bodies are. And what happened to them will change the way you see Everest forever. David Sharp wasn't reckless. He was just alone. In 2006, he set out to climb Everest without a team. No Sherpas, no bottled oxygen, no backup plan, just a belief that he could do it the pure way. In 2006, Sharp chose the cheapest expedition available, a budget climb on the north side. No weather support, no satellite comms, no backup plan. On May 13th, he set off for the summit. Sometime during the night, he may have reached the top. Some climbers later reported seeing a lone figure sitting near the summit that matched his gear. But by morning, he wasn't climbing anymore. At 8,500 meters, just below the summit, David Sharp was found curled inside a shallow limestone alcove known as Green Boots Cave, named after another dead climber whose body had marked the route for years. Sharp was lying next to it, curled up, motionless. His limbs were frozen, his face covered, oxygen mask empty. But he was alive. Climbers began passing him as early as dawn. Some thought he was already dead. Some stopped and listened. They heard groaning. A few tried to help, but no one stayed. Most assumed he was beyond saving. Some didn't want to believe he was still alive. Others simply didn't have the means to help. Not in the death zone, where every extra step feels like dragging an anchor. A Turkish team saw him. They couldn't assist. Members of a large commercial expedition noticed him too. One Sherpa stopped and checked. Sharp whispered his name. He asked to sleep, but sleep at that altitude is a final surrender. One climber radioed down. Some teams argued about what to do, but no one stayed, and no rescue ever came. That day, over 40 climbers, 40, passed David Sharp. Let that sink in. By the next morning, David Sharp was dead. His body remained in Green Boots Cave for nearly a year before Sherpas moved it onto a ledge and let it fall.
There isn't much I can say other than what the fuck? First off, Green Boots Cave? Imagine you die doing something you love and they use your dead body as a landmark. I guess these people might like that, but I feel like it's devaluing the fact that this is a person. This is an actual human being, a frozen human, but that's an actual human being. They are not a landmark.
This week we return to Mount Everest to celebrate the bones of Sleeping Beauty, or rather Frances Arsenteieff, the first American woman to reach the summit of Everest without the use of supplemental oxygen. In 1998, she successfully summited Everest with her climbing partner and husband Sergei, but on their way back down, their brains and bones riddled with hypoxia, the two got separated. And although some other climbers tended to her with supplemental oxygen when they found her in distress, they too had to abandon her when they were were in danger and running low on that sweet O2. Her last words were reportedly, "Don't leave me," which just, it isn't what you want to hear, right? It makes everyone feel bad. Worse, although her husband made it down to camp without her, he also died trying to go rescue her with oxygen in hand. Frances died in this Sleeping Beauty / Snow White coated position at around 8,000 meters, and climbers would pass it for 9 years. In 2007, a team once again ascended Everest to move her and our old friend Green Boots out of sight. Like Green Boots, Sleeping Beauty's body has not decomposed. Her skeleton is still covered in flesh and stuff, but we must honor her as a skeleton. But this position, as well as reports of her face still being peaceful, quote, porcelain, and probably just, not a skull, she received the Sleeping Beauty moniker. The team successfully dropped her off the path and out of sight, but they couldn't do that for Green Boots, I guess. He's still kind of just there.
This is tragic and completely avoidable. Here's the thing, my actual opinion is that people have free will and can do whatever they want. They know the risks, so they can climb the mountain if that's what they want to do. But the human side of me understands they want to climb this mountain, but why are we letting them? They shouldn't be allowed to do that. We know the risks, so why are we letting people do this? Here is a recent video from a girl who is currently climbing Mount Everest.
I just come back from camp 2. I'm scared. And I feel horrible. My throat and my lungs. I'm so out of breath, even though yesterday I was at 8,000 meters.
Y'all see how she looks? In one of her videos, the description said, "It's unfortunate we had to turn around because the weather is bad. I'm so sad," and all this stuff. And I'm like, girl, you would not have survived. Look at you.
Hello, camp 4. I'm just coming back. My stomach hurts. I'm getting back at 4 a.m. So I have to go back in tonight. I know it's a really bad idea. It's so hard. And I was feeling so good and so strong. I had to turn around. Something that's not in my control. I can't.
You're not okay. You're not okay. I'm glad they turned around and stuff because, you would not have survived, in my opinion. You're coughing. Look at you. You're a mess. You're a mess, girl. I understand this is adrenaline junkie shit or something, but I still do not approve. Get a better hobby. Am I totally off base? Is this normal? Am I just tripping? I just feel like there's no way I'm the only one who feels this way. Hey, we're about halfway through the video, I think. Could you do me a favor and subscribe? Thanks. One of the many risks of climbing Mount Everest is frostbite. Frostbite is so common for these hoes.
Yeah, what you're seeing is actually real. This person has gigantic caused by frostbite. He's a world famous mountain climber that unfortunately got stuck in the mountain for many hours, and he sustained this level of injury called frostbite. Frostbite is when cold temperatures causes your extremities to lack perfusion, either your hands or your feet, and that causes damage to the tissue itself, causing them to die, and then eventually they fall off your body. That is called auto-amputation. That level of severity is the extreme level of frostbite. At that point, amputation is the only thing that will happen.
Why didn't he have gloves on in that first clip? I'm so confused. If I was climbing that mountain, I'd have at least 2 gloves on.
So the other clips I was able to speed up because the copywritten music, and it was really faint in the background, but he has his copywritten music so loud that I think I just need to tell you what he says. He says that he himself knows 2 people who have frostbite. A friend of a friend got frostbite, and somebody he knows personally had frostbite from climbing Mount Everest, because somebody had asked him how many people a year get frostbite, and he was like, I don't know, probably 1 out of 100. That's what he said, 1 out of 100. But he said he thinks 1 out of 100 because he knows 2 people. Yeah.
If you alone know 2 guys who have frostbite, I can tell you it's probably more than that.
I just got to camp 3. Kirsty was already here, my roomie. I'm so thirsty, so hungry. I saw her eating an apple. I asked, can I have a little bite? Look at the little bite. Oh my god, there are no manners in the mountain, just straight up. My face is totally burned. I was so thirsty. I looked at that. Oh god, we become different humans here.
Why'd you bite her apple like that? She's probably hungry too. Imagine you're hungry, been climbing a mountain all day, and a bitch takes a big ass bite out of your apple. You didn't bring any food? Also, yeah, I'm wondering about the water situation up there. I'm assuming you're gonna be really hungry because doesn't everything just freeze up there?
You just hiked Everest, which takes you how many days?
47. I went over it, and 20 minutes later, the whole thing collapsed, and people fell thousands of feet down and dead. Yeah, they're still out there, unfortunately. There's no helicopters after Camp 2. Camp 1, Camp 2, Camp 3, Camp 4, Summit. After Camp 2, it's no man's land. It's a free-for-all. We got lucky. I mean, there was an open, clear, bluebird day. That's where you see everyone trying to attempting. Because 5, 10, 20-mile-per-hour winds, 20, you're done. 5, 10 mile an hour changes the temperature drastically. So it can go from 0 degrees or -10 degrees to -50 quick. And if you're up there when that happens, it's tough to get back down. And you're not just worried about the weather, you're also worried about your health, you're worried about your gear, you're worried about the Nepalese. Some are super nice and some are a little sketchy. You know, there is known cases where they'll cut your lines and push you off. And that's not just Nepalese, that can be foreigners as well, but it's a free-for-all.
I don't know who the Nepalese are, but somebody go and get them. Please, I'm scared. Let me look to see what the Nepalese are before I say something offensive. Bruh, the Nepalese are people from Nepal. Like, that's literally what they're called. Wait, that makes sense. But to me, Nepalese sounds like an Italian gang. We are the Nepalese. But, like, you can't just blame a whole ethnic or, like, group of people for something like that. That's kind of messed up to be like, all these people from Nepal just keep cutting the cords. I don't know they keep cutting the cords. Watch out for people from Nepal. That, I think, is not allowed to. I don't think you're allowed to say that. Also, did you see all that trash up there in that video? People go up there just to litter. I know the real tea, I know. People go up there because they want to be litter bugs.
Everyone thinks that this is a traffic jam, but I promise you, if you're on oxygen or you're not on oxygen, you're not moving that fast. So this isn't a traffic jam. This is just people excited to go to the summit. But there's no traffic jam here. No one's sprinting up this mountain at all. I promise you that. Everyone's out of breath. Everyone's moving 0.2 miles an hour. That's how slow we're moving right now. Let's come over here and try to run up Everest. If you think this is a traffic jam and you can move faster.
First off, put your mask on. This is fun for these people. I can't imagine a world in which my version of fun is slowly walking up a big ass hill. If you thought going up was a problem, coming back down is just as dangerous.
This video was taken on my descent after reaching the summit of Mount Everest. The particular section that I'm on is called the Hillary Step and is very famous. Right here, I'm viewing back down what's called the Cornice Ridge. This section's very dangerous, and on the way up, I saw 3 dead bodies in about 20 minutes. It's a very technical section, and there's no areas really to pass, so I was very lucky that on my day, there wasn't too many people going to the summit at the same time. It was a beautiful day and a great experience.
Nonchalant. I saw 3 dead bodies. Am I going insane? Like, genuinely. Is this not traumatic? For me, even watching the videos that have the frozen dead bodies is so scary. And you passed 3 of them? You probably passed them on the way up too. And you still went. It was a beautiful day and a great experience. Some in the comments said something along the lines of, I don't think it's really that much of an accomplishment anymore if there's a line to get up there. And he was like, no, the day I went, there was actually not a lot of people, so I feel like he was trying to defend it, being like, no, it's still cool. There was like only like 20 people when I went up there, so it's still an accomplishment for me.
Copywritten music, copywritten music. They call me the climber. I be climbing, I be climbing, I be climbing high, climbing high. I'm the climber.
The dystopianness of seeing dead bodies and just walking past them. These people genuinely think it can't be them. Right now, you're probably like, well, it must look really cool up there, right?
Mount Everest ain't got shit on me. I'm on top of the world. I'm on top of the world. Mount Everest ain't got shit on me. Mount Everest ain't got shit on me. I'm on top of the world. I'm on top of the world now.
Trash! You went up there to look at trash on a hill. I live in Indiana. If I want to see frozen trash bags, I can just wait till wintertime. I'm just kidding. The view is like okay, but because you're low on oxygen, you can't sit there and actually observe it. So it's literally like, oh, wow.
You don't realize it's anticlimactic until you start climbing down and you realize like that's it. Like I was there for 10 minutes. I trained how many hours? I hiked how many staircases? I was like my entire life revolved around this one goal and every single thing was shifted and I was on the top for 10 minutes. You do feel a little bit cheated for a moment.
Yeah. Now look how stupid you look. All those years of training and for what?
I saw a mountain, I saw a mountain, I saw a mountain, hey, 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 hey. I saw a mountain, I saw a mountain, I saw a mountain, hey, 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 ho, ho. Ding, 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 ding.
I hate to say it, but it doesn't even look that big. And the color scheme is mid. Don't shoot the messenger, shoot the sender. Wait! Like, genuinely, I could climb that in probably 45 minutes. They need to create, like, an escalator or something to get up there. How bored do you have to be to spend 3 months of your life just climbing up a white hill? I can't. If I spent 3 months doing something that wasn't working, I would be jobless and unemployed. Wait, In my research though, I was so glad to see I wasn't the only one who thought this shit was crazy.
This is a line to get up to the summit of Mount Everest. Every person in this line paid at least $60,000 to be up there. Each one of them requires at least one Sherpa, a native mountaineer who's paid from $4,000 to $10,000 to guide them in their folly. Each one of them is in a nearly oxygen-free environment that causes an array of bodily damages, and that's not even beginning to touch what happens because of frostbite. Every one of them stepped over literal bodies to get to the top. Everest is one of the world's largest open-air tombs. Hundreds of climbers, summiters, and would-be summiters die on that mountain. There's not enough oxygen up there to support any kind of life. They also leave their garbage on the mountain because it is far too dangerous for anyone except for Mother Nature herself to get rid of it. Everest reminds me a great deal of Burning Man, presumably sans orgies. It is an overrated experience that acts like a rich people flex. If Everest climbers and Burning Man attendees had no choice but to keep their attendance 100% secret, they most likely would not go. Some humans are so rich and so bored, they think it is worth dying for an Instagram selfie that nobody cares about. Someday these same fools might end up going to Mars, and it will be difficult to elicit any pity for them as their noses and limbs redden and blacken and then break off as they struggle to stay alive. We here at home will say, you had a choice, and this is what you chose. It is also extremely disrespectful to the spirits of the land to need to best a mountain because it happens to be tall. Those who climb Everest and return safely bring back a curse to their friends and families. You can see it in their eyes. Something settles in there that makes them insatiable for another punishing round, hungry for another $100,000 down the chute, craving me, spotlighting of their vacuous inner worlds. Here, I am reminded of people who don't take Hawaiian land spirits seriously and end up pissing off Pele, or people who chop down sycamores or rowan trees. The spirit of Everest as a mountain is never considered, except perhaps by the Sherpas. Everest has no oxygen, and is generally deadly because it prefers being left alone. It doesn't have to open its mouth to say this. It's easy enough to figure out.
And you know what? She cooked. Everest very clearly wants to be left alone. It's like when people domesticate porcupines.
This is a live look at Mount Everest right now, and God never intended for this to happen. The highest peak in the world, one of the most difficult climbs, is now a rich hobbyist sport where they underpay Sherpas, and my thing, there's two decisions we can make. Either make Mount Everest more difficult again so people start dying and not moving, grooving, vibing, sliding, or we make Sherpas millionaires immediately because these are the type of people that deserve to have millions in the bank. Why might you be asking? Because one, they carry the luggage in all the tents and all the type of things where it's like, I know you're really actually not that athletic. You just want to do this to say you climb Mount Everest. So don't worry, I'll do all the hard stuff for you. You just walk, move, groove. You know what I'm saying? Sherpas right here make anywhere from $4,000 to $8,000 per season. Not per climb, up and down. No, the whole entire climbing season. Oh yeah, but that's gonna do good in Nepal. I don't give a fuck. Do you know how much it costs to climb Mount Everest? People are throwing $30,000 to $160,000, sometimes more, and usually never less than $30,000, just to climb up this joint. Sometimes they have one Sherpa, sometimes they have the whole entire thing, and on top of that, Sherpas make the line in the first place, where no one else has gone up. They're like, all right, let's figure out the safest route to get all the way to the top. Some of us may die. We may get caught in an avalanche. But for the Western world, they'll have an easy path to the top. Sorry, but if you want to climb Mount Everest, the highest peak in the world, you're supposed to almost die. And not supposed to be easy, and not supposed to just be wide, strictly for vibes. No, it's supposed to be margin of error, you guessed it, death, and not for the Sherpas. For you, because look where you're going. Top peak in the world. You're supposed to almost die. Not supposed to be no easy type of trek. I have the nerve to leave the place dirty. Y'all don't even clean up after yourselves. Oh yeah, just throw the trash over there. Don't worry, the Sherpas will get it, put it in their pack, and bring it all the way down. It's like you are really scum of the earth. Real Mephistophelian characters should just no longer happen. It should never happen again. Because what are we all doing standing in line just to get to the top? A lot of us not even supposed to be here. How hard did you try? How much did you pay? How many Sherpas you got? Back of the line, bitch. That's how I'm moving up there. You shitting me? The hater, yeah. Anybody that uses Sherpas like this, I hope you die up there. I ain't gonna lie. What? You can say it's dark? It doesn't matter. You're exploiting these people and not paying them enough. And to the Sherpas, you guys are goated. You guys need to do some sort of strike where it's just like, okay, no more Mount Everest. Y'all can go up there. We're not going up first until y'all pay us at least 6 figures every Sherpa. And guess what? They can afford that. So can the private companies.
He said the not so quiet part out loud. Sherpas need to get paid more by yesterday. But because people know they can pay them little, they do. And that's fucked up. And to do my part to ensure I don't contribute to that nonsense, I vow to never climb Mount Everest. If you also want to be part of this movement, tell me below. Say, I vow to never climb Mount Everest. And we can create a little movement of people who vow to never climb that mountain. Together, we can be the change. Hearing people talk about climbing Mount Everest gives me the same feeling I get when people talk about roller coasters. It just makes me so internally grateful that nobody can ever force me to do that.
My morals are low. I have low morals, so people carry my stuff.
The comments are cooking her alive. Because her usage of the Sherpa in that sentence is so... It's like me going to Africa and being like, me in Africa sweating while this African is fine. He's probably tired too. I honestly hate this video. Like, frick whoever made this. Like, genuinely, it's pissing me off. You have enough hands to film, but no hands to carry even one of those bags. I feel the same way about these people too.
Meow, wow, wow. I can't carry stuff. I'm so weak. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, look at me. I'm a really cool Sherpa. Wow. Wow, wow, woo wee. Look at him, so cool.
Like, you're genuinely insufferable. The more I think about it, the more I understand, like Hawaii, most of their economy is supported by tourism. Like, I think Sherpas can do what they want and take whatever jobs they want. But ethically, you as the climber have a responsibility to pay them adequately. And if you don't, and you exploit their economy and labor, knowing the risks, you are a bad person. Here's another video of somebody who agrees with me.
No, but the most embarrassing part about climbing Mount Everest is actually that you spend all of that money for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and yet your accomplishment will never compare to the local Sherpas. You might have spent years training for this to go up there that one time. You make your way across that ladder between the massive fall to your death, and you make it, and you pass all those dead bodies, and you finally get to the top, and you take your beautiful picture, and you get to go back and tell everyone in your life about the time that you climbed Mount Everest unnecessarily because nobody was making you do it. And yet these Sherpas go up there all the time and have a level of skill that none of the Mount Everest tourists could ever attain. Some of them go up dozens of times in their lifetime, way more than any of the climbers are ever doing, and they know that place intimately. They are the ones that are being called upon now to rescue all the people that are stuck there for that exact reason, because their level of skill usurps any of the tourism climbers and anything that they could ever attain to.
She ate because it literally is so embarrassing. Like, especially after seeing the video, you literally climbed it on easy mode. I still think it's weird to climb it even without help because, bro, why are you climbing the mountain to look at some trash? Why are you climbing to look at trash? But I do think it's astronomically worse to use Sherpas to help you and pay them nothing. Okay, guys, this video could go on and on and on. I have a lot to say. Like I said in the beginning, thank you Fern the Guy, Adam and Lizzie, my shawty, for becoming members over on Patreon. If you would like another way to support me and to get bonus content, go to my Patreon, AJ Talks A Lot. And also the infamous Toya Hub video is on there. Guys, we are so close to getting 10k subs by my birthday, which is November 23rd. I can literally scream. So please subscribe or I will tell everyone that you climbed Mount Everest. Follow me on Instagram at AJ Talks A Lot, especially if you want to have input on the kind of videos I make. Bye.